Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. We're from Group 1 and we'll be explaining about gender wage inequality among women agricultural workers in Nepal. So before we begin, let us understand first about the wage inequality. So what is wage inequality? Wage inequality refers to the unfair difference in income or salary received by workers. In many situations, some workers are paid more while others are paid less, even when they perform similar tasks or contribute the same amount of work. So one common form of wage inequality is gender wage inequality. So gender wage inequality happens when women receive lower wages than men because of their gender. So this issue exists in many countries around the world, especially in sectors where women's work is often undervalued and ignored. So in this video, we'll focus specifically on Nepal's agricultural sector. So agriculture is one of the most important sectors in Nepal because it supports the country's economy and provides employment opportunities to a large part of the population. So many people in rural areas depend on farming as their main source of income and survival. So in this particular sector, women are also heavily involved. They work in crop farming, livestock care, harvesting, planting, carrying materials, and many other farming activities. In fact, women contribute greatly to food production and daily operations of farms. However, despite their important contribution, women agricultural workers often face unfair treatment. Many women receive lower wages than men, even when doing the same work. They also face limited access to education, training, land ownership, and decision-making opportunities. So this issue is important because it affects not only women, but also families, communities, and the country's economy. When women are not paid fairly, families may struggle financially, and children may receive fewer educational opportunities. And in fact, poverty may continue across generations. Therefore, gender wage inequality is not only an economic issue, but also a social justice and human rights issue. Women deserve equal opportunities, equal respect, and equal pay for their hard work. So the objective of our video today is to discuss the background of agriculture in Nepal, explain the causes and effects of gender wage inequality, present evidence and case studies, and finally suggest possible solutions to reduce this problem.
Okay, for this part, to better understand wage inequality among agricultural workers in Nepal, it is important to first look at the background of the country's agricultural sector. Well, agriculture has traditionally been the backbone of Nepal's economy and continues to play an important role in the lives of millions of people in this country. Although Nepal has experienced growth in sectors such as tourism, manufacturing, and services, agriculture remains one of the country's most important industries. It contributes to food production, supports rural communities, and provides opportunities for a large portion of the population. One of the reasons agriculture is so important is because a significant percentage of Nepal's population lives in rural areas. In these communities, farming is often the primary source of income and livelihood. Many households depend on agriculture not only for earning money, but also for producing food for their own consumption. As a result, the performance of the agriculture sector has a direct impact on the well-being of many Nepalese families. Agriculture is also one of the largest employers in Nepal. Around 2/3 of the country's workforce is engaged in agricultural activities, including crop cultivation, livestock farming, and other related work. This makes agriculture a key sector for employment and economic stability, particularly in rural regions where alternative job opportunities may be limited. Women play a particularly important role in Nepal's agricultural sector. They are actively involved in almost every aspect of farming, including preparing the land, planting crops, weeding, harvesting, caring for livestock, as well as processing agricultural products. In many rural communities, women spend a significant amount of their time performing agricultural work while managing household responsibilities. The role of women has become even more important due to the migration of many men to urban areas or foreign countries in search of better employment opportunities. As men leave rural communities for work, women often take on greater responsibilities in managing farms and maintaining agricultural production. This has led to what some researchers describe as the feminization of agriculture in Nepal, where women make up an increasingly large share of the agricultural workforce. However, despite their substantial contribution, women does not always receive the same recognition, opportunities, as well as rewards as men does. They often face barriers such as limited access to land ownership, limited resources, or even training, and decision-making power. These challenges can affect the economic position and contribute to unequal treatment within the agricultural sector. Therefore, understanding the importance of agriculture to Nepal's economy and the significant role women play in farming helps provide the necessary context for examining the issues of gender-based wage inequality, which will be discussed in the next section.
Now that we have discussed the importance of agriculture in Nepal and the significant role of women plays in it, it is important for us now to understand the gender inequality wage that still exists in Nepal. Why? If you take a look at it, one of the main causes in traditional gender roles is many rural communities in Nepal. Men are often viewed as the primary breadwinners while women work is considered supplementary. Even when women contribute equally or sometimes work longer in hours in the field of men, because of these social norms, employers may pay women less than men for similar agricultural work. A similar situation can be observed in India, where women are heavily involved in agricultural activities but often receive lower wages than men due to the deeply rooted cultural expectation. Another major factor, if you can take a look at, is the limited access of education and skills training. Many women, especially in rural areas, have fewer educational opportunities compared to men. As a result, they may have less access to modern farming techniques, agricultural technology, or leadership positions within the farming cooperative. This limits their chances of obtaining higher paying jobs, increasing their vulnerability to lower wages. The third cause is the lower bargaining power. Many female agriculturers are employed in formal or seasonal work arrangements. Without strong representations, labor contracts, or even access to financial resources, women often have a less ability to negotiate fair wages. For instance, a woman working as a farm laborer in Nepal may accept a lower pay because she has a limited employment alternative compared to men. Lastly, occupational segregation also contributes to the wage inequality that we are discussing today. I give you an example. In Nepal agricultural sector, men are often assigned tasks that are more physically demanding or technically skilled compared to women, such as operating machinery, transporting goods, or supervising farm activities. These jobs generally receive higher wages. Women, on the other hand, are frequently concentrated in planting, weeding, and also harvesting, and also post-harvest processing, which are often undervalued or paid less, despite it is essential to the agricultural production. Another example I can give you is a comparable pattern can be seen in Kenya, where men are likely to control commercial farming activities while women are concentrated on labor-intensive agricultural work that receive low pay. Therefore, gender wage inequality in Nepal's agricultural sector is not caused by only a single factor. Instead, it is a result from a combination of traditional social norms, unequal educational opportunities or equipment, weaker bargaining power, and occupational segregation. Similar patterns can also be observed in many developing countries, demonstrating that gender wage inequality is a global issue and challenges that requires both social and policy reforms to achieve greater equality in the agricultural workforce.
Now, I will discuss the effects of gender wage inequality among agriculture workers in Nepal. Gender wage inequality does not only affect women themselves, but also families, communities, and the country's overall economic development. Firstly, wage inequality has a direct impact on women. When women receive lower wages than men for similar agricultural work, they earn less income despite contributing significantly to farming activities. As a result, many women experience greater financial insecurity and are at a higher risk of poverty. Lower earnings also limit their ability to save money, invest in their future, and or improve their living conditions. Secondly, wage inequality affects families since women often play an important role in a family household. This can make it difficult for families to afford necessities such as food, healthcare, and education. In some cases, women may become financially dependent on their husbands or other male family members, which can reduce their decision-making power within the household. Additionally, when family income is limited, children's educational opportunities may be negatively affected, especially in rural areas where resources are already scarce. Thirdly, wage inequality has consequences for communities. When a large number of women earn less than what they deserve, their spending power decreases. This means they have less money to spend on local goods and services, which can slow economic activity within rural communities. Furthermore, wage inequality reinforces traditional gender norms and social inequalities, making it more difficult for women to achieve equal status and also opportunities in society. Finally, wage inequality can negatively affect Nepal's national economy. Women make up a significant portion of the agricultural workforce and contribute greatly to agricultural production. However, when their work is undervalued and underpaid, the country is not fully utilizing its human resources. Equal wages can increase productivity, improve household welfare, and contribute to economic growth. Therefore, gender wage inequality not only harms individual women, but also limits the overall development potential of Nepal. In conclusion, gender wage inequality among agricultural workers in Nepal has wide-ranging effects. It increases poverty among women, places financial pressure on families, weakens community development, and slows national economic progress. Addressing this issue is essential for promoting both gender equality and sustainable development for Nepal.
Okay, so after understanding the effect of gender wage inequality, so let us now look at some evidence of real-life examples from Nepal that demonstrate how this issue affects women agricultural workers. So one important trend is in Nepal is that researchers call the feminization of agriculture. It is due to the migration of many men to cities or overseas for employment. So women have increasingly become responsible for the agricultural work and also farm management. However, despite taking on greater responsibilities, women agricultural labor continues to be undervalued and underpaid compared to men's work. So studies have shown that traditional gender norms still influence how agricultural tasks are valued, often placing the woman in lower paid and less recognized roles. So a real-life example can be found in middle hill regions of Nepal. So research has found out that women are carrying out a larger share of farming activities because many men have migrated for work. So despite this increased workload, women often face barriers in accessing resources such as training, credit, and decision-making opportunities. So, as a result, they contribute significantly to agricultural production while receiving fewer economic benefits from their work. So this demonstrates that greater participation does not necessarily lead to equal pay or equal opportunities. So another example comes from commercial vegetable farming in rural Nepal. So research has shown that many women have entered vegetable farming to generate income for their families. While earning an income has improved some women's financial independence, but many still face social and cultural barriers that limit their economic opportunities. So women often have less control over their financial decisions and also may struggle to receive fair compensation for their labor compared to men working in similar agricultural activities. In addition, studies on employment and wages in Nepal has found that women in rural areas continue to experience significant wage discrimination. So even when women possess similar level of education or skills, they often have fewer opportunities for regular employment and still receive lower wages than men. So this suggests that the wage gap is not solely caused by differences in qualifications, but it's also influenced by a gender-based discrimination. So these examples highlight a common pattern across Nepal's agricultural sector. So women plays a crucial role in food production and rural development, yet their work is frequently undervalued. So this contributes to lower incomes, reduced economic security, and limited opportunities for advancement. So in conclusion, real-world evidence from Nepal shows that gender wage inequality remains a significant challenge for the women agricultural workers. So although women are contributing more for the agriculture, giving equal participation, but yet they has not translated into equal pay and also equal opportunities.
In conclusion, gender wage inequality remains a major issue in Nepal's agriculture sector. Despite women's significant contribution to the farming and the economy, they often earn lower wages than men due to traditional gender roles, limited opportunities, and unequal access to resources. This inequality affects not only women but also their families, communities, and Nepal's overall economic development. Therefore, efforts such as equal pay policies, better education and training, women's empowerment, and stronger government support are essential. Achieving gender wage equality is important for reducing poverty, promoting fairness, and creating a more productive and sustainable future for Nepal.